I am very thankful to be on a roll today as we continue faith and new beliefs and let it flow week. I didn't notice before that when I was pulling these, I was just leaving them up here. But it was like roughly a week where they would stay. So each week has been a different theme, if you will. So thank you to the full moon in Gemini for this energy. Today it is at the 23rd degree of Gemini, right next to my Venus in the 11th house. That just means that I will be talking to you guys a lot, at least while this energy is here. Because I just got done my uprising video, but I still feel like, hold on, there's another message I need to deliver, uh, and it's going to be about this full moon. So what I am getting is, we need to get into what you're releasing, and this is collective. This is for everyone. Anybody that comes across this full moon at this degree is pushing out the same thing on everybody. It's just going to manifest in a different level. So how this works is the same way that you can recognize that the moon affects the tides, like how it pulls them and makes them busier on some nights. Like I remember being in LA and we were living in the van in LA, right? But the best part, and I know that sounds wild, but the best part was falling asleep next to the ocean, like right outside of the Palisades. I guess we were in Malibu. I think it was Malibu. But on the nights where it was a full moon, I would notice that the waves and the water would be so high, it'd be crazy. And then when the moon would go away and it go back to the day, the water would be hella low. And I'd wake up just in time to see the surfers starting to get ready to do their thing. So that was cool because it gave me this lesson to teach you guys about or this knowledge, this example to explain that the same way the moon pulls stuff based upon its flow or its phase is the same way that all of the planets pull and tug on us. They all have a frequency that beams down to us that we pick up in our crown, and it affects the magnetics of what we attract and the events that come about. The thing that we are controlling, if you will, is how we react to the script that we already signed up for through these natal charts. So this full moon is about release. It's at the 23rd degree. The 23rd degree is an Aquarius degree. So this will very likely have to do with people you're connected to, your social media habits, your causes and beliefs. Like if you were somebody who wasn't into politics, something possibly could happen to make you say, okay, I need to stand up for this certain group of people. This is the energy for the underdog, the Elon Musk, but I don't want to say it in like the mad, evil, genius robot way, but like the version of him that has a ability that puts him on the spectrum. Like that's the Aquarius energy. But with Gemini, it's in thought patterns revolving around those things, information you share about these things, what you learn about in regards to these categories. And it's just really an energy of cutting people that need to be cut off so that you can align with your soul tribe. And that's just what I'm feeling intuitively. So this message that is for everybody, what beam, what ultralight beam is coming through now? I'm going to pull for what's being released. And it might be one or two decks for what's being brought in. And then I'll close with an empowering message. So, all right. Ooh, I like how organized this energy is making me feel. So your Venus is like how you earn money and your magnet, like your worth. So with this beaming down on my Venus, I feel very in the flow of understanding why I'm doing what I'm doing and why I'm supposed to be doing it. Feeling my bag. If it's next to your Mars, then you're going to be feeling like physically like you have to do more things. If it's next to your moon, you're going to be dealing with a lot of emotional stuff coming up for you to ponder over. If it's next to your sun, there are going to be some events that occur to you physically. Like you might get into a confrontation or have a conversation with somebody who is pivotal or that is pivotal at this time. If it's next to your Mercury, this is mental energy. Once again, your mind is going to be like, but it's going to be more so connecting dots versus the moon, where you're going to be feeling the feelings and then getting the thoughts to like, why do I feel like this afterwards? So hold on, moon, Mars, Mercury, Sun, Venus. Like, is there another personal one that's important? I just want to do the personal ones because those are the ones that are directly related to your character. Some things come with all of us. They're generational. That's your Pluto and your Neptune that are generational and affects you as a group or a hive of people. So no, I think I just got all the personal ones. So what is the collective releasing during this full moon in Gemini? What are they releasing? Should have said we, but like whatever. Ooh. Ooh. So Gemini, right, is also in charge of duality. This is, and I keep coming back to this, Jekyll and Hyde energy. You having two faces, two parts of yourself, two people that you got to be in order to get stuff done. This is energy for like if you were ambidextrous and you can write with both hands, right? What's coming off? The mask. This is masquerade. Anything that you have been faking the funk about, especially in regards to your pain, or any addictions you're having, just anything that you have been holding back and not talking to anybody about, that's being released. You will no longer feel the need to hide yourself, even if it's to yourself. Ooh, and I just did a whole uprising video sort of on this. Sort of on, it was on being, me talking about me, being a background character in my own life and how I've been pushed, like everything in the universe pushing me towards being a main character in my life. So I had to take off this mask of less than energy. Like I am only here for other people's gratification and I don't really have a purpose or any particular joy in my life. And you know what song like stayed with me through this whole thing? That tag on Billie Eilish, What Was I Made For? And that was been like at least, I'm gonna say going on like 4 weeks, maybe 6, of me just listening to this song and it's like, I'm getting through it. It's not feeling sad, although the song sounds sad. It's like, no, what was I made for? What have I been doing this whole time? Like, what is my purpose? Why do I have these strange gifts? Why do I know things ahead of time? Like, it feels like I'm supposed to be doing something that's important with this. It doesn't feel like this is the end all be all. So that was my higher self's way of getting me to start processing this Gemini energy, I suppose. And I guess maybe because I have it natally, that it was already being triggered, already being pulled up because the Sag sun is opposite the Gemini. It's already been working against or pulling up anything that needs to come out of the Gemini energy. So it feels like it really, that's literally what this is. Anybody who's been playing two parts or two roles, every playing two roles card that I have in here, this is stop hiding yourself. Could be even learning yourself because I'm keeping the Gemini in mind, right? But it feels like hiding yourself was like some form of atonement. Take that as you will. But putting yourself aside, you don't get a badge of honor for that. Ain't no trophies for putting your pain so far down in the bottom of the hole that you become addicted to the pain and the suffering of it. And most of the time that causes you to have another external addiction just because you're trying to cope with what you're not giving yourself time to face inside because you're putting this other face on. That was wild, right? For other people. That's over. That's a wrap. That's what this moon is helping you release. Anywhere in your existence that you are showing duality, and with it in the Aquarius degree, anywhere that you are splitting yourself to make other people happy, anywhere that you are going against your own thoughts, your own words to make a situation easier, because this is not going to work anymore. You not being aware of your own pain and shoving it down so that you develop internal problems just so somebody else is happier with what you're presenting won't go forth any longer. Now, how's this going to play out? Several different things, even though I just gave y'all some examples, several different things are going to prompt this mask to come off. Either your thoughts is going to be so wound up that you have to say something as soon as somebody triggers it, or there are going to be events that lead up to it. It could even be arguments. It could be like messages revealed. There are going to be several different catalysts based upon what house your Gemini energy is in, where you are forced to take your mask off and to begin coming into union with yourself. Like, this is who I am, without a doubt. I know you thought you knew who I was before, but you know what? I was just making it easier on you. I don't want to do that no more. I want to be okay, is the energy I'm feeling here. So that's what's getting released. You might not have even realized where you were having to split yourself into or being two-faced. But this moon is going to pull it out. And it's actually been working already for the last 3 days this way, or like before this moon came in, it'll be working for the next 3 days following. So what message does the collective need for this full moon in Gemini? What message does the collective need for this full moon in Gemini? Well, this is interesting. So I'm going to actually ask the same question off of here too, and then I'm going to put it all together. So what does the collective need to know for this full moon in Gemini? What does the collective need to know? Face your dragons. Face your dragons. That's what just came in my head. Or you'll be facing your dragons. Oh, I love this. Okay. So this is about, in some way, shape, or form, and it doesn't have to be an outright enemy, but there are some people or some patterns or some relationships that you've been holding on to that are creating war within your existence. Like, it's hostility. So I'm not going to say an enemy, but it's a hostile energy. It's something that was stopping you from being yourself. And then I didn't even recognize this one was still up here. Some that duality energy, that two different tones. You see this one too? Two different sides. It was all based upon a specific people, a specific group of people that you were having to split yourself. So it's like, that's going to be faced head on. That's the one thing that keeps coming through, like, resoundingly, because the door to your self-worth, to who you actually are, is what's going to be opening for you. But you could only get through that as one person, in unison, with yourself on one page, even. Oh, there's a quote for this that I don't have, but it's like, no man that is like at war within himself, or two parts of himself can like work in one or something. I don't know. If somebody knows the quote, let me know. But it's something about, you can't have a war inside, or you can't have yourself divided inside if you're trying to build something. This part just backs up what I was sensing off of that first one for what you're releasing. You're releasing internal war and strife, but you will be doing that by dismantling the war outside. What was causing you to be divided from yourself? What was causing you to have two different energies? It's like, there's going to come a boiling point where you're like, I don't want to do that anymore. This is me, and that's it. That's what you get. Either you can rock with it, or you can stay away from me. We can keep a distance. We ain't even got to do this. But I am no longer going to continue to put myself in a position of pain and unhappiness in order to make you happier with what I'm doing with my life. That's what this feels like. Somebody is being controlled by circumstances, by their thoughts. It's even like, sometimes when you're younger and you have a bond with your family, or you have bond with a certain group of friends or something like that, you don't want to lose that bond. It's an abandonment wound. You don't want to do anything that would send that person off. But when does that become to your detriment as you're growing? If you want to do something different and this person over here is uncomfortable with it, and you're like, oh, I can't tell them I'm doing this because they won't feel the same towards me, and I don't want to lose that bond. But you just lost the bond with yourself because you stopped yourself from growing, because it is. Because it is. Avoiding the war doesn't stop it from happening. As a matter of fact, you get way more battles trying to avoid just deading that in the first place. It was definitely blocking a whole lot of love. Like, that's all I'm seeing here now. Once this door to value, and it feels like the door to self-value, whatever group of people or persons or people that were in your head is what I'm feeling was stopping you from seeing like your true beauty. It might not have fit with their standards. The way you think, the way you handle things, is based upon your experience. And nobody has gone through what you have been through but you. Nobody has been there in those moments when you're crying to yourself, when you did something you regret, or like nobody else is there doing that. So their projections, their ideas about what you should do and what you need to have in your life don't add up because they weren't there. They weren't there. So in pursuit of forgiving yourself, releasing all that old stuff, releasing all the stuff in your mind that is just not necessary anymore, is only going to be done by getting rid of those people, because it seems like those people were still bringing up the old stuff, the old versions of you, and they had no idea what seeds were already being planted in you for new things. You're already past this war energy and they keep trying to pull you back into some old stuff. Let them go. It made me feel very Mufasa about this. Let them go. Let that fight go. Release yourself. It's just an abandonment wound. New people will come through. It is better to not abandon yourself, because that is the real core wound. What did you do when you felt sad when you were younger, when you weren't getting enough attention? You modified yourself to a version that would get you the attention that you needed or you felt that you needed. But in that moment, you abandoned yourself, and that's the actual core of the abandonment wound. Other people are going to come and go, and you were born alone. You're going to die alone, most likely. You are the only person you need to worry about not walking out on, because everything else has a cycle, and you can miss out on a whole cycle you're supposed to be doing trying to please people that aren't even supposed to be in your existence anymore. If you are keyed into this message, I would say check the uprising part 1 and part 2 that I just shared, because it feels like that taps into this message. It is me receiving the beam from the Gemini full moon, but other people working against you coming into your full value because you didn't realize even some of your skills, some of your weirdo skills like mine, or your talents or your thoughts or your feelings were something that were to be treasured, because you weren't around people who could assess that work. They could not appraise that. Like, this is like having the Mona Lisa in your house, and somebody comes in your house all the time, somebody who's a friend, like, ew, why you got that picture of that plain face bitch up all the time? And they hate your Mona Lisa, so you put your Mona Lisa away. Until one day, you're like, I like this photo. I'm going to put it up, right? You put that photo up and that friend come in again. Oh, you got the ugly picture. Get out my house. Get out my house. You know what? You ain't even got to look at my photo because it's going to be up. So that friend leaves, right? You end up making a new friend. One day that friend comes over and they're like, is that a Mona Lisa, nigga? And then they go and explain to you how much that painting is worth. And you didn't even know the whole time. You just liked this photo. That is what I am feeling off of this situation. You didn't even realize your worth because you weren't around people who could appraise that. Going forward, after you done cleared out the old stuff and put up things that are really a representation of you, started wearing it in your body, embodying it in your energy, all new people are going to come in. This is fated meetings, fated connections. And all of it's based on love. All I see here is, let me show y'all. First we got, there goes that man holding the heart again, right? But Raphael, which is the heart healing, right? That's love. We got the other counterpart, the woman holding the heart. Love again, right? Then we got the king and the queen of keys, counterparts once again. You only get the pairs together when the energy is lining to come together. Like, this is top-notch energy. Then we got the queen of roses. It is another love energy, and happy family. I'm going to put these together because it seems like in order to have, let me put this, a happy home, the feminine who is in charge of the home has to be happy. Take that message as you want to. It could be for you or it could be for somebody else. But what you are getting rid of is allowing you to come into union, not only with yourself, with your heart healing. It's like this door opens the door to all these other cards that I just showed you. The happy family, the heart healing, the love, having somebody who is reciprocating that love equally. And then on the other side, it's unwritten. You get to decide. You get to decide because you'll be finally operating in a vibration of the open door. Many, many, many. That's what I'm feeling right now. Doors were closed because you couldn't go through them with the people you had with you. And I just got a personal message myself the other day when I was doing something. And it was just like, you have carried someone through a certain amount of doors with you. Like they have been easing on down the road. Like when Dorothy got the Tin Man and stuff, like he's been easing down the road because of you helping them. But going forward, like they gotta meet odds on their own. They gotta have their own storyline. They can't just say, well, I'm with Dorothy. That's not gonna work. Nah, he wanna know why you here. And I'm using this as a euphemism. I think that's the word I want to use for like God. When you come down that yellow brick road, when you make your way down the tree of life, you're gonna come to God on your own. It doesn't matter who you travel with. This feels like a one-on-one connection, right? You have taken all your raggedy gang, all the people that were with you before now, as far as they can get by riding off of your energy of being split and being what you needed for yourself as much as you can, and everything you needed to be for everybody else. In order to meet with the Most High, you have to come in unison. The funny thing is, on the tree of death, the very top part, right? The one that you get to that would be the equivalent of God. And I think of that as the big reveal for when you see that the Wizard of Oz is just a little man, right? There's big God, but the little man version, that's Lucifer. That's the end of the tree of death. And it's actually called the sphere of the twins. It's where somebody is divided into two. So there's something to this, right? But you're no longer going to be divided in two and be torn apart by that sphere, which is the final test of the tree of death, temptation. Will you modify who you are or who you know yourself to be? Well, will you get to know yourself in the first place as your best self and your worst self? But will you stop modifying yourself in order to get the things that tempt you? Will you stay true to your one? And that's even the test with Jesus in the desert versus Satan. He was just asking the questions just to see, like, hey, so if I give you this, like a test of who you are, and will you be foldable? Are you one person? Are you in alignment with who you say you are and your thoughts? In order to get out of the game, your words, your thoughts, and your actions all have to match. They have to be a reflection of each other. There can't be, you got to be real. There can not be any falter in your character. Like if you're a piece of crap, like take 50 Cent. He never proclaimed to be a good guy. He is who he is through and through, right? It's just up front on his sleeve. Be yourself, be that person 100% in all of your tones, all of your multifaceted nature. Just be you, and that's how you get through. Ooh, all right. So this door, and it also seems like there's something financial to this, like you changing your magnet. You stepping into your actual value is going to stop any up or down or any high or low or any inconsistency that was in your income, because you're stepping into the vibration of all this love. That's the bottom line. It's all this love. Now I feel like I have to pull from the money deck, and that was not on my original radar, but let's see. What is the financial or not, what is material gain that comes along with this love and stepping through this door as one person, as one energy? This is somebody or some group that is deciding to step onto the path of God, to take the journey towards the high road. Absolutely. Like you are leaving everything behind, or everything is being brought up so you can decide, I don't want this no more, taking the high road. And then, why does step in the name of love start playing in my head? But you're stepping up the, let me show y'all. I got to. So let him use you, babe. The first time I went to a real studio to record a song, I was like really nervous, and I was froze up. And the studio engineer came over the little mic thing, and he was like, let him use you, baby. Right? And that is what stayed in my, be able to do it in that moment. It had to be something bigger than me than that allowed me to get outside of my own head and all the stuff that like sort of stops you from being able to open your throat, so to speak. So I'm gonna add tree of life and death, and I'm gonna flip this around for you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. I got this. So here we go. Let me flip y'all around. And sorry about all the jumping and stuff. One day, my stuff, I'm claiming this, is gonna be so legit, like it's gonna be seamless. It's gonna be like edited. It's gonna be like, wow, what an experience. We just love Aisha. So this is the tree of life, where the actual like Oz is, but like good Oz, like the real creator, is up here near the crown or beyond the crown, right? This is even just the shell of the crown, like the part that can be down here and be like, hey, what y'all doing? The sun, right? Down here is where I was just telling y'all, uh, where he at? Oh, they put it down here, it's Thamiel, but it actually goes like this. This is inverted in a way, but it makes sense that they would have the hanged man next to the tree of death, because once you're down there, you're stuck. But this part right here is the equivalent to the crown up here. If you were going to hell or you're going the wrong way, you were down here and you end up split. You end up as two different people. You are two-faced AF, right? You are not the same person. You do and say what you need to do to get what you want. It's all about making sure that you are satisfied, right? But if you are dealing with the sphere of the twins and you decide to integrate, I'm no longer going to be two people for whatever reasons you were being two people, then you are going to drop. This is like you dropping through the tree to a different vibration. You are going to be, go back here, step in the name of love. Crazy, still in my head. I liked the idea of it until it showed up as like a little, okay, fine. I'll use this one. This is that crown again. Now, keep in mind, whenever y'all see the spiral, that's a message or a movie or something from Source reminding you, Home. The movie Home has the spiral at the top of it, just so you understand what I'm saying. This means you're being led out of the maze. So after you decide, I don't want that tree of life no more, tree of death no more. I don't want that. You are going to pop up. I was about to say through the moon. I think I'm right though. You're gonna pop up through the moon. Right here, right in the middle of the, not in the middle, mid-beginning of the tree of life. You're gonna try to walk up this road here, right? So this side over here is severity. This is where you learn the hard way. This over here is the path of, what is it? Not severity, mercy. This is the easy way. Like, I already know better, do better. I must stay away from everything. I done been through it. That's the path usually people call the path of Jesus or Jupiter, right? I don't think anybody realized this. The son, it's the son of God, who's the one that defeated the bad dad and then like saved all his siblings. It's the same being. It's the same being, y'all. So on here, this is the easier way. You already know all the stuff that could throw you off and you don't even fuck with it. You stay on the good road. Over here, it's like sometimes you're Alice. You go down the rabbit hole. That's actually the feminine path. But right up here in the middle, like the only straight path, that straight and narrow that you hear about all the time, you are going to go from your family's karma and rising up from that, right, to the sun. This is you developing that strong sense of self that is not divided by other people. This is that, stop over. This is that door to value. Because that's the sun. This is about yourself, who you are. And it's also the sphere of the sun god, right? Stepping back into your power. And it's, you see, it's lining up with gold as the metal, recognizing your own, your Midas touch, your gold, right? Everything after that is you going straight up towards source. Now, right up in here, this is called the abyss. That's Da. That's Pluto. That's transformation, but it's transformation through melting down all the pain you have been through and turning it into something. It's like dissolving that ego that you just developed, right? To turn into a whole new different version. This would be the equivalent to the 40 days that Jesus spent in the desert. They don't tell us much about the person that he was beforehand. Like if y'all had known that he was somebody who sort of had a drinking problem that was hanging out in those lowly clubs and seedy areas while he was trying to figure out what God was trying to tell him, because his life was sort of weird. He had stepdaddy issues. Like there was a lot going on for Jesus that is not even mentioned in that book because it was removed from this version. But they give you that part where he was in the desert, where he had to be by himself and get tested on everything for him to come out on the other end as somebody who had removed themselves of their human ego, right? Like it doesn't matter I was an alcoholic. It doesn't matter I was down there with them hoes, right? Because God said, this is who I am to him, and that's all that matters. And him staying in that energy is what kept him by the crown the whole time on the spiral. He found his way home. Now that ending, controversially, I don't believe that's the ending. I have found lots of other sources after I got the download that that's not the way it ended. The real ending is He stayed up on that cross so long and he did not die that the pontiff actually got nervous that other people would see that he wasn't dying like all the other people and that they would start to believe he was a real Messiah. So they made a deal with him, like Simba, to get out of this land and never come back. And he actually went to Jerusalem, or not Jerusalem, like somewhere over in India, and had a family, had 4 kids, had his wife, lived his life out to the end, because that story would have changed our faith in a different way. We have been manipulated to give our faith to something else based upon the fear of being persecuted for saying, I am a child of God. So anybody who decides to take this path that this Gemini energy is leading, and also keep in mind that Gemini energy, I don't think this part is right, is leading the mercy pillar. It's learning from what has been learned before you. In a way, knowing better, doing better, because you've seen people who have done those things and accomplished it. So you are being given the opportunity through shedding those shifty dual patterns and then shifting all the stuff that has been holding your family back to step into self. That could be a two-part thing, because it is the moon in Gemini, and the moon is ruling the family thing. Maybe even somebody was having to be multiple things for their family, or if you have had to be multiple things for your family. This is going to come up during Christmas. Ooh, this is some good shit. Because I forgot the moon hits now and it starts the little drops of what's going to happen, but it always has a big. I even have that coming up. My dad's a Gemini. My Chiron is in Gemini. And I'm going to visit him in Maryland for Christmas. I haven't been on a road trip in quite some time. So I'm like, oh, hell, that message just came through for me. Can I walk it like I talk it? Because he believes all of this is woo, 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 woo. Even though he doesn't have a religion or anything. It's just if it's not grounded in this reality, I'm weird. I'm the nutcase. I'm whatever. But my test is going to be, can I walk it like I talk it? Can I say this Aisha, even when my dad's looking at me like, oh my goodness. So I won't be the only one tested, because no, this is setting us up for Christmas. You can knock out two birds, one stone. You're going to cut off any friends or anybody who has you bound to this earth thing or duality or being. I keep getting split, like the movie Split, having to play different characters, having to code shift. You're going to be releasing anybody who makes you feel like you can't be authentic in front of them or keep 100. And then the family test that's coming up is about breathing in that authenticity, being that around those people and being okay with anybody who does not understand you. You being yourself is like the best hater repellent, the best energy vampire repellent. You being so strong in your own energy, it sort of scares off or allows you to see anybody who is not really there for you in the most positive way. How would this play out? You get into an argument with somebody about your actual beliefs. And it doesn't even have to be like a real argument. Like somebody's on you, like, oh, so that's what you believe. Like you recognize, hey, that's not the person for me. But then there could also be the person who disagrees with it and just throws shade. But you are being now cognizant of, oh, I peeped that shade. I didn't see that before, because that's not where I was in. I was split in many different ways. So I didn't think about anybody else who was wearing different masks. Revelations is coming up. You will recognize things. They will be revealed to you, and other people will reveal themselves also. And with this being the moon, the family will be included in some way, shape, or form, and all your Aquarius placements. So, what financial or material benefit is there from all of this? Because love really attracts everything, but love can only be truly found, true love, through authenticity, through you showing somebody your best, your worst, your ugly, your high, your low. Otherwise, you're only loving a shell. You got to know somebody in totality for it to ever be unconditional love. And unconditional love is the only way out of the game, whether it's for yourself or another person. I love this. So, comfort. I asked what was the material gain from this, right? Comfort and peacemaking. What is better than being comfortable in your life and having peace, right? You will be living comfortably. You are re-entering the most comfortable period of your life. Your finances will be in a state of balance. You are being called to apply diplomacy, diplomacy, and face a difficult situation. Approach situations with a win-win attitude. With that peace. All I do is win, 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 no matter what. It's just went through my head. And this, what went through my head, and this was the last card on here. So the material that you gain are in connection to getting part of your soul back. You're being guided to discover your unique spiritual path right now. Going forward, and this really does connect to the uprising video I did. I was saying that sometimes you're going to be doing things that make you feel more comfortable spiritually. You're going to be meditating and doing all that, as opposed to doing the actions that you think you need to do in order to earn money, because source is working through you. It is drawing, you're working on your magnet, your aura, as opposed to you gaining things through your physical. Like some people go to work like a construction worker and you only see the benefit from you actually putting in the work. Whereas opposed to a priest or a preacher, right? They only have to go physically out there and deliver a message once. Most of their time is spent in meditation and getting down the message. I'm getting more that this person will start to draw in more for themselves, or this collective, by tapping into the spiritual energy. Once do they walk through their door of value, like their magnet will no longer be disabled from their aura, so that they are able to attract back to themselves anything that was lost, anything that was split while they were split. So let me get my closing empowering message now, because this was beautiful. You're stepping through the door of the sun back into your halo. Ooh. Back into the sun god energy. This does not go in this deck. No, my card OCD. Because I got to be authentic, y'all. I was not authentic when I was doing wedding photographies. I even had my hair straight all the time. I had it auburn because that's like a really color. I had my little clothes from Lane Bryant. I really became the package of your wedding photographer for what I believed you had to be in order to be booked. And it did not go well for me in the end. So in this job, y'all gonna get me on my good days, on my semi-bad days, because on my bad days, I know now it's okay to sit down and rest. Don't show up to work when you are feeling like crap just to say you went to work if it's not going to be productive. You taking care of yourself is productive. And that's something nobody ever taught me. I had to learn that as a very difficult lesson. I got taught like, hey, my dad used to literally say, feelings don't matter when it comes to doing what you have to get done. And that ruined my life. I became so far down the hole, a whole totally different, depressing, like sad version of myself. Now I can't even imagine me going back to not smiling. Like, oh my goodness, if I could hug like 25, 30-year-old me, because that's what was needed. So what is the empowering message for the collective today? All right. First, we got intuition, because your intuition is the thing that's connecting you to the crown. You only hear source through your intuition, your intuitive things. So follow your inner compass. Half of intuition is listening, the other half is acting. If you have asked, you will receive an answer. It is time to listen and follow your guidance. The next one, focus. Like keep your goal in mind. If your spiritual journey, if you developing is what you're doing, focus on that. Is this in alignment with that? Anything that's not in alignment with what you are trying to do for yourself is a distraction and it needs to be cut off. Focus. What really matters? Energy flows where your attention goes. Organize and prioritize what is important to you, and it will energize these parts of your life. When you are split, your energy is going to a million different areas trying to keep that going. When you are focused, it's all pouring into specific channels that are helping to build the thing. That's why I just said that anything that is not in alignment with what you're doing is a distraction. It's only going to pull you away from what you actually need. You just need to focus on these 1, 2, or 3 things that are moving you up your path towards whatever your ultimate goal is for self. And I think we all just want to cross that river. We want to get back home. So insight. Isn't he giving Justin Bieber? Holy, holy, holy. Bright ideas are coming. And epiphany often arrives when the mind is totally quiet. rest and meditation. Give yourself a mental break to open up your imagination and allow brilliant ideas to emerge. The last one, which is the theme, communicate. This is you having to have a conversation with somebody else or somebody's else. Create space for dialogue. You are being called to either facilitate healing or to heal communication with others. Reach out and clear the air to listen and speak the truth. You are going to be speaking to people that are trying to test or trigger you in some way, shape, or form just because they're in the old vibration you were in as opposed to where you are now. And this is a test of, can you type into the Christ in you, to the God of you, and explain while still understanding what they're saying to you? Can you still maintain your enlightenment while being tried or attempted to being triggered? Everything's a test, but there's a level up that comes after the test. And I'm going to take this one. This is regroup, right? That's another one that's letting me know this is a thing that comes through connecting with other people. Wait to proceed. Stop and regroup before you make your next moves. Give yourself and others a chance to check in. Review, then proceed with the clarity and intention. So I am very firmly going to say this this full moon energy is guiding us through a chain of events over the next 2 weeks where you are going to go through these things. And then at the very end, you are going to regroup and assess as we go into the new year, this new phase of the year, this winter, right? This cap season, for what you are locking in. Cap is lock in season. What you are locking in with going forward. You just needed to see it all revealed to you so you can make the right decision as you direct yourself going forward. So this was the full moon in Gemini reading. Let me know how it resonated, guys. And even after Christmas, come back here and tell me what happened with your families. Bye.